Have you ever felt it? You know, that moment where your heart is just pounding frantically out of your chest, your breathing gets incredibly shallow, and your mind is completely racing with the absolute worst imaginable scenarios? And yet, you're just sitting there, perfectly safe in your own room. Listen, it is a terrifying and incredibly isolating experience. Okay, let's dive into this explainer because today we're focusing strictly on the medical mechanisms of anxiety and exactly why it can feel so absolutely impossible to escape.
So why is anxiety disorder so hard to cure? Well, to answer this core question, we really have to look at what anxiety actually is first. Fundamentally, anxiety is just a built-in survival alarm in your body. It's a system that has kept human beings alive for thousands of years. It's practically perfectly designed to warn us of danger and get our bodies ready to react. But what happens when that life-saving alarm literally breaks? Why do so many people living with chronic anxiety just feel completely desperate, hitting dead end after dead end with different treatments?
Today, we are going to demystify the 7 hidden traps making anxiety disorders feel so inescapable. We'll be following a super clear path. 1. The broken alarm system. 2. Avoidance and hidden trauma. 3. Your brain's physical changes. 4. Mental tricks and crutches. 5. Body panic and safety lag. And finally, 6. Rewiring your brain. All right, let's get started. We're kicking things off with Section 1, the broken alarm system. Let's see exactly what goes wrong when this evolutionary survival mechanism starts malfunctioning. The absolutely critical distinction you have to make here is that clinical anxiety is not just ordinary stress. It's really not. It is a paralyzing medical disease. The massive problem happens when this ancient alarm system just completely breaks down. Instead of only going off when there's an actual, real-world danger, this alarm just keeps blaring endlessly, or it fires off in situations that are 100% safe. And, this can paralyze a person's life for months, or literally even years, all because the body simply doesn't know how to shut the siren off. Moving right along to Section 2, avoidance and hidden trauma. Let's look at how our immediate reactions and our buried past keep that alarm permanently stuck in the on position. Let's see how this builds into trap number 1, the avoidance cycle. So it starts when a trigger pops up, maybe a passing thought, a specific place, a physical sensation. Instantly, your nervous system sounds the alarm and triggers this massive fight-or-flight response. Your heart is racing, you're getting cold sweats, every muscle is tense. Now, because that feels absolutely awful, you naturally want to avoid it, right? So you cancel that presentation or you just skip the social event entirely, and boom, you get instant relief. But here's the catch. That relief is actually poison. In psychology, we call this negative reinforcement. Your brain literally learns, oh, okay, avoiding this thing is how we escape danger. So every single time you avoid a trigger, your future anxiety just gets stronger and stronger. Your world shrinks down a little more, and you miss the chance to teach your brain that you are actually totally safe all along. Trap number 2 is something a lot of sufferers don't even realize is happening: unresolved trauma. See, there's a huge fundamental difference between ordinary anxiety and trauma-induced anxiety. Ordinary anxiety is really future-oriented. Your brain is busy predicting bad scenarios that haven't even happened yet. But trauma-induced anxiety, that is past-oriented. Your body is chronically reliving the sense of threat from your history right now, even in a perfectly safe present environment. Literally the smallest trigger, like a random smell or someone's tone of voice, can cause a massive surge of adrenaline. And because your body is reacting to the past, traditional positive thinking or simple cognitive tricks just hit a total dead end. You simply can't think your way out of a nervous system that's trapped in survival mode. This brings us to Section 3, your brain's physical changes. I really want to validate something absolutely crucial for you right now. Chronic anxiety is not a mental weakness. It has a very real, very deep biological core. And this brilliantly illustrates trap number 3. Constant exposure to the stress hormone cortisol does 3 genuinely terrifying things to your brain. First, it physically enlarges and strengthens your amygdala, which is your threat alarm center, making it hypersensitive to completely neutral things. Second, it literally shrinks your hippocampus. That's the area that stores your memories and context. So this means your brain genuinely struggles to tell the difference between a past threat and present-day safety. And third, cortisol weakens your prefrontal cortex, which is the part responsible for logic and regulating your emotions. Honestly, this is exactly why you can't just think clearly during a panic attack. Your brain has literally been physically reshaped to be worse at logical thinking and vastly more expert at panicking. Now that we've seen how the brain's physical architecture is actually altered, let's head into Section 4, mental tricks and crutches. So here we find trap number 4, cognitive distortions.
Look, when your nervous system is blaring at top volume, balanced, rational logic completely goes out the window, and your brain starts relying on faulty mental shortcuts. You might start catastrophizing, which is basically jumping straight to the absolute extreme worst-case scenario. Or maybe you start mind reading, where you're entirely convinced other people are judging you or mocking you, without a single shred of objective evidence. Or fortune telling, predicting a terrible outcome as if it's already an established, guaranteed fact. The real trap here is that anxiety makes your brain treat these fear-filled predictions as absolute, undeniable truth. You end up believing the lies created by your own brain, which just keeps that fire of fear burning bright. And that leads us straight into trap number 5, our dependence on safety behaviors. Avoiding things doesn't always look like hiding under the covers in your bedroom. Sometimes we use these little crutches or rescue behaviors in plain sight. This could be something like always carrying sedatives in your pocket just in case, or constantly seeking reassurance from doctors, avoiding eye contact, or even feeling like you absolutely need a companion with you just to leave the house. Now, while these things might feel calming in the moment, they act like invisible chains. They very subtly reinforce this totally false belief that you are incredibly fragile and that the situation you're in genuinely is dangerous. You start telling yourself, oh man, I only survived because I had my pills with me. And that completely, 100% prevents true fear extinction from ever happening.
Let's transition into section 5, body panic and safety lag, where we uncover that incredibly frustrating disconnect between what you logically know to be true and what your body is physically feeling.
So, trap number 6 is the misinterpretation of physical sensations, often called the panic cycle. People dealing with anxiety become incredibly, overly sensitive to tiny little changes in their bodies. Let's say you drink a cup of coffee and your heartbeat naturally speeds up just a bit. Instead of your brain saying, oh, hey, that's just a normal reaction to caffeine, it interprets it catastrophically, like as a fatal heart attack. This catastrophic thought immediately creates a massive surge of intense fear. That fear forces your body to pump out way more adrenaline, which, ironically enough, makes your heartbeat even faster. And there you are, totally trapped in a vicious, adrenaline-fueled loop, actively conditioning your brain to be utterly terrified of its own body.
Which brings us to trap number 7, safety lag. Now, what's really interesting here is that this perfectly explains why it is so endlessly frustrating when someone just tells you to calm down. Safety lag is the huge mismatch between your cognitive brain, which logically understands you are completely safe sitting at home on your couch, and your autonomic nervous system, which still firmly believes there is a literal predator in the room with you. Your amygdala just keeps pumping out adrenaline and norepinephrine, keeping your muscles totally tense and locking you in a state of hypervigilance. The part of your brain that processes fear is operating completely independently from the part that processes logic. So commanding this totally disconnected nervous system to just relax using logic is scientifically impossible. Honestly, it's like trying to slow down your heartbeat using nothing but willpower. So, if logic can't fix a broken alarm and avoidance only makes it worse, and our brain is actually physically changed, what on earth do we do? Well, we arrive at section 6, rewiring your brain. And I really want you to listen carefully here because there is incredible optimism in this. So the absolutely crucial point is this. We have neuroplasticity. This is your brain's amazing ability to change, adapt, and build entirely new neural pathways throughout your entire life. Just as chronic stress and cortisol physically reconstructed your brain's architecture to be really good at panicking, targeted interventions and exercises can physically heal it. We can rewire it to feel safe again. Real healing actually requires a two-pronged approach. First up, we have top-down cognitive approaches. Things like cognitive behavioral therapy and gradual exposure. These techniques help break those cognitive distortions we talked about earlier, and they train your brain that you are safe without constantly relying on avoidance. But listen, we also desperately need bottoms-up, body-based therapies. Practices like EMDR, somatic experiencing, and deep diaphragmatic breathing. These work directly on the body to dampen the hyperactivity of that amygdala and release all the built-up tension in your autonomic nervous system. Hey, even regular exercise is a remarkably powerful bottom-up tool. It is scientifically proven to stimulate the growth of new cells in the hippocampus, literally rebuilding what the cortisol shrank and restoring those logical connections in your brain. The journey to healing an anxiety disorder is slow, it is completely nonlinear, and it requires immense daily persistence. But the science is absolutely clear. Your brain can be healed, your nervous system can be calmed down, and you absolutely can regain control of your life. If you or someone you love is trapped in this cycle, please reach out and seek help from a qualified mental health professional. You really do not have to face this alone. Your brain learned how to panic. The only question now is, are you ready to teach it how to heal? Thank you so much for joining me and learning together today. Take really good care of yourself, and I will see you next time.